Adam Jonas of Morgan Stanley reported the other day, and I want to get this exactly right, so I'm going to read it to you. Morgan Stanley dug deep into the implications of the Inflation Reduction Act on the electric vehicle sector to conclude that investors may be underestimating the potential positive catalyst the legislation could be for Tesla over the next few years. Well, then they set out to come up with the number that they thought was right. And they came up with a number they thought correct for the 2023 year of $3 to $5 billion. And I reported on this, and Stephen Mark Ryan and others reported on this $3 to $5 billion figure without doing any homework. We are now going to do the homework. And while the number is much larger than most people are giving it any credit for, and nobody's figuring it into their models, I can assure you that the folks that you're following don't have this in their models when they're predicting the earnings for 2023. The number is not as big as Morgan Stanley said, and I don't know where the heck they got the number. So we're going to take a deep dive. This is Randy Kirk. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe, hit notify. Later on tonight, you're going to get your regular financial information on Sunday night. And then tomorrow morning, I have a new program, which I'm doing, where I cover the news that took place on Sunday that you would otherwise not get until after the close of business. So hit notify if you'd like to be notified of those. And of course, lovely if you could help support the channel through Patreon. All right. Here's the numbers. Went into a lot of detail here, but keep in mind, if you follow my channel, you know that I put gross numbers up. I do not go down into the small minutia of the data, because why? Because it's all guessing anyway. So as you'll see as we go through this, a lot of what I'm talking about here is guessing. I don't know why I didn't bold those three. Anyway, a lot of it's just guessing. And so why would you guess in minutia? I think it was my son who years ago said, sometimes when I'm going 15 miles over the speed limit on the freeway so I could get there early, I have to laugh later when I was going the wrong direction and I have to turn around, and now I've just gone further out of my way than I would have otherwise. So that would be sort of why I think it's foolish to get into the minutia. Let's now take a look. So I'm going to give you the best shot I can here. First, we're going to start with the number of megawatt hours that is being produced at each location that I believe apply that they would get some IRA money for. We'll start with Panasonic's Reno batteries. You can see right here that we would expect them to build about 39 megawatts this year. That's their number. They're going to be trying to increase that by at least 10%. So I'm saying that they'll increase that in 2024 to 43, and then maybe later to 45, 50, et cetera. But those future years, this is not something that they've promised or that they're saying they're going to do. Rather, these are just speculations that they would get better and better at it and be able to add more. Panasonic other batteries, none this year. And again, this will be in the United States. Now, what's unclear is whether the batteries they're going to make in Japan starting next year, the 4680s, they're going to make in Japan would count, but they're also going to set up a factory in the United States, which would making 2370s. Those will be definitely applicable. So I put those in for definitely applicable. Japan is a trading partner. Those might be, I'd have to look into that. So we also don't know whether they're going to share any of this amount with Tesla. So what I'm doing here is I'm using the same amounts that I will use on the Panasonic and Reno. I'll explain more about that when we get down to the multiplier of the dollar amounts. Tesla Austin batteries. I'm predicting that they'll make 30 megawatts this year. I think that they will hit a run rate of 100 megawatts in early 2024. So I'm going to give them 80 for the following year, 100 the next year. And then I think they'll continue to increase that number up to 200 in 2028. Tesla Reno batteries. We know that their goal is to do 100 megawatts initially and then increase that to 500. I've got it spread out here. Of course, 0 this year. I'm thinking maybe 30 next year, because they will be able to take the technology they've learned in in Austin and in Fremont, and they will be able to apply it. And so they should ramp more quickly. So I'm saying that the Reno will be like 30, 80, 120, et cetera. You can see what I've done there. All right, then we go to the Tesla Reno. We go to the Tesla Reno semi-packs. Okay, so these would be the semi-truck packs that are being assembled probably in Reno to be put into semi-trucks. I'm saying 2 gigawatts this year for a very small production of the semi-trucks. Elon Musk continues to say, he hasn't said anything to reverse this, 40,000 trucks next year. I've cut that in half to 40 megapacks next year, and then eventually getting to the 40,000 somewhere between 2024 and 2025. I'm sorry, 2025 and 2026. Lathrop battery packs, this would be where they're packing the batteries in. Right now, those are going to be made by CATL, so they are definitely not going to count. I don't think. Again, some question. I've done the research. It appears that these Chinese-made batteries, even the fact of putting them into packs, will not count because they're made in China. So I'm assuming, however, that by 2024, that would be here, by 2024, they will start to be using some or all of the batteries will be made in the United States from one or another of their suppliers, including themselves. And then Tesla Fremont battery packs. Okay, here we have battery packs that they're currently making for the cars in Fremont. I'm figuring that's about 35 megawatts, and it will continue to be around that number. In the Tesla Austin battery packs, these would be made from their own battery manufacturing in Austin, primarily, maybe some from Fremont, but in general, we're figuring maybe 15 this year, 40 megawatts, and then as that Austin facility ramps up, a lot more. The Mexico battery packs, these are, of course, being made in Mexico. They are part of the agreement. They're part of the deal. So I'm saying that that'll be 5 in 2024, going to 20 and 25, et cetera. You can see. Now then we have the Tesla Fremont batteries. Of course, they just have that small Cato Road facility. I'm saying 4 megapacks this year, megawatt hours this year, going to 7, going to 10, and then maybe slightly increasing over time. And then the second NAFTA battery storage manufacturing location, I'm saying there'll be another Lathrop type facility that will either be in the United States, Canada, or Mexico. So therefore it will count, and you can see what I'm giving that. All right, then we have these other 2 questions here. These are question marks. Maybe you could indicate in the information below. Tesla solar and energy storage installations. So this would be where they are putting in solar or energy storage. They would be selling to themselves. This could be an issue. So I'm not sure, when they're putting solar on somebody else's roof, do they get anything? When they're putting megapacks in somebody else's location, do they get anything? Vice versa, when they're putting megapacks down in Texas for themselves, for their own utility, do they get anything out of that? And then if they put solar on their own roof, do they get anything for that? Because there's some issue about when you're selling to yourself that you have to be selling it to a third party. So anyway, there's some questions on that. I don't know. Tesla lithium refining, will they be getting some kind of a benefit from the federal government? We know they're getting from Texas and from the city school system there, but will they be getting anything from the federal government for setting up the refinery, and then ongoing as they refine lithium, will they be getting any kind of a discount or some kind of tax return based on that? I couldn't find that information. Maybe some of you know. Okay, a couple of assumptions here that Tesla will split third-party manufacturing 50-50. I'm going to change that. I had that created before I learned that, at least with regard to Panasonic, the split is 80-20 in Panasonic's favor. So the second assumption is that Tesla will move as quickly as possible to have 100% of US and Mexico products using compliant batteries. And finally, that the IRA will not change. I think there's a real possibility. I hope not. I hope not for Tesla's sake and for Tesla stockholders' sake, but there's a real possibility that when Congress sees what this is going to cost, there will be modifications. I don't know, but there could be. The Treasury can make modifications as it is. They've proven that they can completely make modifications, and the Congress could step in and say, you know what, this is too expensive. All right, let's go down now to the second half here where I also didn't bold. Okay, so what we're going to say is on Panasonic Reno batteries, that is the 80-20 split. So they are going to get $7 per kilowatt hour. So that's, I'm multiplying that out times the amount above. Panasonic other batteries, I'm saying that as Panasonic puts in their other facilities, whether that's in Japan or whether that's in the United States, that Tesla will make the same amount, the $7 per kilowatt hour. Then we go to Tesla Austin batteries. These will be the ones that they will be putting into their own cars. They're going to get $10 for those packs. Tesla Reno batteries, same thing. Tesla Reno semi-packs, same thing, $10. Lathrop battery packs, same thing, $10. But remember, those are CATL at this point, so they don't get anything for that. Then the Tesla Fremont battery packs would be also at the $10 level. Tesla Austin battery packs would be at the $10 as well. I'm sorry, I made a mistake up above here. The Tesla Austin batteries would be the batteries that they're making in Austin. And so they would be getting the full $35 for those. And the ones that they're making in Reno, they'll be getting the full $35 for those. And then down below, so in Fremont, they would be getting $35 for those batteries that they're making on Cato Road. For the second location, the second NAFTA battery storage manufacturing location, you can see again, those would be at the $10 level. All right, so you add this all together. In 2023, I get to just under $2 billion. Now, Zach Kirkhorn has said that it will be around 250 million per quarter, which would be 1 billion. I'm coming up with 2 billion. Help me out. Show me where I've made a mistake. If you can add in the comments below, where is the error? Where could it possibly be half of this number? I can't figure that out. Everything on here, we again, this is confirmed now with regard to how much they're going to get from Panasonic. Morgan Stanley got that wrong. They thought it was going to be 75-25 the other way. Tesla Austin batteries, I mean, maybe they make a lot fewer. That could have a big impact. But the rest of it is pretty straightforward. I'm not sure how they could come up with less. So anyway, that gives us a total of 2 billion for this year. But look what happens next year. It jumps up to 5.6 billion, and the next year to 9.4. Now, why is this important? You can say 13 billion, and then 17, 18 billion, and then 24.5 billion. So why do I keep harping on this? Why is this like, I've been talking about this since I wrote the book, The Elon Musk Mission. Have you got your copy yet? Why haven't you got your copy yet? There's still tons of information in there that you need to know in order to be able to fully understand Elon Musk and fully understand the mission, fully understand Tesla. So anyway, why does this matter? Well, $2 billion is a lot more than 1 billion. And if it's a $2 billion impact on the bottom line, compared to a bottom line that is probably only going to be between 12 and 15 billion, 12, 16 billion maybe, that extra $1 billion is a significant number. Also, one of the things to watch out for as if you're looking at this downstream and trying to analyze it on the profit and loss, some of these tax advantages, like from Panasonic, et cetera, may be included in cost of goods sold. So when Panasonic sells them the battery, they're just going to sell it with the $7 subtracted. If CATL sets up a factory in the United States, they're going to sell it to Tesla with whatever the negotiated amount from the IRA that Tesla gets to keep is just going to reduce the cost of the battery. So a lot of this is just going to show up in the cost of goods sold. This may also be true internally when they're manufacturing the batteries. They may just reduce the cost of the goods sold, or they may show it as a memo line. Who knows? And then battery packs. So now they're internally transferring the batteries to a place where it's going to be put into a battery pack. This could be shown in the cost of goods sold rather than as a tax item. So sometimes it may be a little hard to find these numbers in order to see what's taking place. However, even if it's just cost of goods sold, if 100% of it is showing up at cost of goods sold, that would reduce cost of goods sold by $1 billion more than what Zach is telling us that he is modeling for the year. So anyway, the other question becomes, why is no one modeling this? Morgan Stanley says, okay, we think that this is important now. I assume that means they'll begin to model it, but then they're modeling it at 3 to 5 billion, as opposed to the maximum I can find is 2 billion. Now, it turns out that our number for next year and the following year are pretty close. Now, how did they come up with this pretty close number for next year and the following year and be so far off with regard to 2023? My assumption would be their assumptions are off on other things, because their assumption on the Panasonic Reno batteries are off by a substantial amount. So not sure how they're getting to their number, not sure if they've begun to model it in terms of their pricing with their expectations of the Tesla stock in the future. But the fact of the matter is their numbers were way off as far as I can tell. But Zach is also, in my opinion, is understating the amount. Not sure why that's happening, but it's worth, love to hear your comments of what you think about this. So anyway, that's the story. Like, subscribe, notify. It's been great talking to you.
Click the link below to get your paperback, Kindle, or audiobook now.